No worries. Good afternoon. I call to order the meeting of the Metropolitan Council Transportation Committee for October 23rd, 2023. Our first order of business is approval of the agenda. If there are no changes or additions, we can proceed. All right, seeing none, we'll move on to approval of the October 9th, 2023 Transportation Committee meeting minutes. Did anyone have changes or additions? Seeing and hearing none, I entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Carter, seconded by Councilmember Pacheco.
Oh, sure.
I don't know which one. I'm sorry, I wasn't sure
Yes.
over here.
Second.
Oh, seconded by Councilmember,
Doesn't matter.
Okay, Tony Carter, Tyrone. Okay, all right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay, and the motion carries. And we are on to employee recognition. Turn to General Manager Canderas.
All right, Chair Barber, council members. Earlier this month, we had the opportunity to celebrate Customer Service Week. And it was a great opportunity to recognize and celebrate and thank our staff, particularly those in our Customer Relations Department and Transit Information Center. These staff collectively, we estimate, handle, along with some of our other staff who work with customers, over 1,400 calls, emails, and texts every day. And they are true creative problem solvers who really care about our riders and making sure they're getting where they need to go and getting any issues they may be experiencing on our system addressed. And fundamentally, it's really about creating that human connection to the people we serve. So today, I'm really excited that we get to honor someone who really exemplifies going out of their way to create those relationships and serve our riders. And so introducing this person is Pam Steffen, our Manager of Customer Relations and Experience.
Thank you, Leslie and council members. Our customer relations department is so crazy busy all the time. So we not only handle feedback, suggestions, but also lost and found about usually, I don't know, roughly 20,000 items a year and about 1,200 bikes, which are our favorite. So I want to introduce you to John Stevens. He started here as a bus operator in 2015, and then thankfully applied for a job here within our department. So we got him in 2018, and he's been with us ever since. And so more recently, back in August, we decided to pivot a little bit because that's kind of what we do here, pivot at a moment's notice. And I asked John if he would be willing to be kind of our lost and found, I call him lost and found manager, where he is on site every day. So he gave up being at home 3 days a week. And he's taken that anything and everything to do with lost and found over. And he's done an amazing job. And we see a lot less hiccups. A lot less people in the mix of lost and found, so it's just him. And so we're super excited to have him here today, and he's done so good. So we wanted to appreciate him in a more formal way and thank him. So John goes out of his way for anyone and everyone, even when the department is closed, he'll go out and help customers outside our window. So thank you, John. It's we're so lucky to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For you.
Chair, while you're doing that, I just want to say personally, congratulations to John, whom I've known from when he lived in the city of Brooklyn Park for many years. And I've also, when he was a bus driver, ridden on his bus, and there was always a smile. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Chambliss.
Thank you so much for your help. Thank you. Very good. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Now we are on to our reports. Our first is MTS Services Director Carlson.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, council members. 3 updates for you tonight. MTS staff have produced an interactive map of the 24 through 27 draft transportation improvement program as a way to more easily find and learn about transportation projects across the region. So this body recommended, and the council has passed the TIP, as we call it. It's a document with, dozens or perhaps hundreds of pages of tables with transportation projects within them. You need to kind of sort through the table. What we did is actually created a map that you can more easily pan around the region and see the different types of projects, as well as drill into more specific details of any particular project. So a new piece for us. A significant amount of work went into creating the format for a map of project level information. But the intent is that it's a lot easier to use and browse the transportation projects in the TIP. We plan to update this every year, and we'll send it out to the committee to take a look at. Next, we have workshops. We're hosting a set of 2050 Transportation Policy Plan workshops that are really geared toward technical staff from the Transportation Advisory Board, Technical Advisory Committee, and its subgroups, as well as other partners around the region, for groups who are helping review draft materials for the region's next transportation policy plan. So it's to look at drafts of policies and actions that will be used to guide how we make investments in the region in transportation. It'll be around the policy and action topics that correspond to the goals and objectives that the council has reviewed. As well as just other small collaborative teams from agencies that are working to assist the council in preparing the plan. So these workshops will be held November 1st, 3rd, and 6th. Some will be in person, some others will be online. And again, really oriented at staff from agencies and partners across the region. That'll have an open house style as well as facilitated small group discussions. So continuing the collaboration with regional partners as we develop the region's plan. And then finally, Metro Mobility Community Conversations. So last Tuesday night on October 17th, Metro Mobility staff hosted the first in-person community conversation since 2020. So this has been a recurring practice within the program. It went to an online format during the pandemic, but now has resumed with an in-person meeting. So staff and riders gathered at the Wilder Center to share experiences with Metro Mobility, any areas of concern, new ideas, strategies to improve service. First talking in a large group about newer developments, kind of service updates and trends from Metro Mobility staff, and then breaking into smaller groups to identify what's working and what could work better. So we had about 35 customers join us for the in-person meeting, and then we'll have another meeting actually online, so a virtual option this week, October 25th, 11:30 a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. So looking forward to that. While we were happy with good conversation quality at the in-person event last week. With that, Madam Chair, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Good, thank you, Charles. Questions or comments from council members?
See, he's just waving, I think I heard.
All right, thank you. Then we're on to General Manager Canderas.
No, I was waving my hand.
Councilmember Barber, or Chair Barber, council members, just one update. A few weeks back when we were presenting as it related to the sales tax and some of the work we're doing as we really think about how we move forward, I mentioned that Metro Transit is kicking off a project we're calling Metro Transit Forward, where we're really inviting stakeholders to help co-create a vision and strategic plan to really guide our operational priorities and decisions moving forward. As one step in that, we're going to host 3 different community conversations in the month of November. The first will be a virtual meeting on November 2nd, and then also in-person meetings on the 14th and the 16th. We have details about where and when those are on our website, and also share that information with you via email earlier today. But really the idea is just to start a broader conversation, to gather insights, ideas, and also it's an opportunity for us to share with community members some of the work we've been up to and what's been in our existing strategic plan, just to give some level setting to what we've been doing and where we may go next. So just wanted to make you all aware that that process is taking that step, and certainly encourage you to attend or get others that information who might be interested in attending as well. So with that, I take any questions.
Thank you very much, Leslie. Are there any questions or comments from council members? Councilmember Carter?
There's likely something on the website about that. Is there any preparation that we are encouraging community to do before attending, or?
Councilmember or Chair Barber, Councilmember Carter, great question. We had planned to start the meeting by providing some background and information. So I really think if you come or call into the virtual meeting, that's all the preparation you need. But certainly our hope is to provide that context and then facilitate a conversation and really listen to what's on people's minds. So it's not, no decisions are going to be made immediately thereafter. It's really to start kind of a more exploratory process to hear from people and what they.
And so people could even call in just to hear and become more a part of the conversation.
Yes.
Okay, that's wonderful. The first is on 11/2. Any time on that?
Sure, I can give those details. It's Thursday, November 2nd from 6 to 7:30, and that's the virtual one.
Great.
And then Tuesday, November 14th from 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. at Union Depot. And Thursday, November 16th, 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. at Minneapolis Central Library, Bullitt Hall.
Okay, and we can get that on.
Yes,
as well.
it's
Thank
in
you.
your email and on our website.
Thank you. Sounds wonderful.
All right, any additional questions or comments? Very good, thank you. Now we're on to our tab liaison report. Mr. DeGan.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, council members. Of course, Mr. Carlson and Ms. Canderas, Becky, who runs everything, okay. Two things and of course, Captain Grates is here and Mr. Thompson, but I wanted to, first of all, apologize. I could not be here we made a decision because there were no tab items on your schedule that, there was no need for me to be here. I want to let you know, though, that the chair graciously turned down my offer to do the tab version of The Masked Singer, but so you were spared that. And I also have to, I don't know, and I'm dressed this way because I'm going to the Vikings game. I'm with a little trepidation. Or trepidation, yes, anyway. Okay. The first thing, in regard to when you get the tab summary from Elaine, she usually has attachments. I'm not sure if you all get a chance to read it. You have so much to do. But two things pointed out that I'd like to reemphasize is that through October 15th, we've had 311 traffic deaths on roadways and 111 in the metro, speed being the main contributor. And from the MAC report, Sun Country is growing very fast, and they're going to add 2 more gates just for Sun Country in Terminal 2. And that was, I thought, worthy of mentioning again. And also on that same summary, last week was National Teen Driver Safety Week. If any one of you has a teen driver or about to be, or it was well done, and of course, it's from the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration, and motor vehicles are leading cause of death for 15 to 18-year-olders. And of course, impaired driving, not only alcohol, but other drugs, other substances, distracted, and then speeding. And one thing I did not know is that the risk of a fatal crash goes up for every additional passenger a teen driver has in the car. Probably, distraction and the like. That's really something. And what I'd like to concentrate on with you today is just two quick items. One on the Regional Solicitation Public Input Survey, and then just a brief overview of TAB and what, again, I know you may probably know all this, but how you cover all the different systems that you have to, and remember it all. This year, the council, through a group called Zan Associates, is doing a regional solicitation public input survey. And the key there is that the results will be released to TAB and, of course, to the council prior to the project selection process, so that the TAB will have the benefit of public input prior to making those selections. It will survey advocacy groups, neighborhood groups, government staff, officials, corridor groups, and neighborhood advisory panels and the like. And it's going to focus on roadways, transit, and bike and ped. There will be an online survey, which will comprise 95% of the surveys, and a 5% intercept or walk up to you and start talking. There will be one intercept survey per county. The locations have not been determined. And a key component of the survey is going to be equitable engagement. And by this they mean varieties of survey methods, meeting the people where they're at, and while they're doing that, having that conversation, they'll have interpreters available for those that who need that assistance. And of course, a main thrust of the equitable engagement will be participating or coordinating with community groups, community-based organizations, to make sure the right people or the right numbers of different demographic groups are surveyed or contacted and surveyed. And of course, the surveys will go across the demographic groups, such as designated by zip code, race, ethnicity, age, disability, income, etc. The survey parameters will be you can only do the survey once, and there will be a predefined time for the intercept live survey. And now regarding the TAB membership is made up of appointed folks from MnDOT, PCA, MPCA, and the MAC, and appointed one non-motorized, one freight, 2 public transit, 8 citizen members, of which I am one from each TAB council district. And then there are, for the elected officials, there's city officials appointed by the Association of Municipal Cities, and there are 10 of them, one each from the first-class cities of St. Paul and Minneapolis. And then there's one Suburban Transit Association elected official, a person, but that person is an elected official from a city that is served by Suburban Transit. And then, of course, the Met Council member, Chair Barber. And then under that, there's an executive committee and TAC, a Transport Technical Advisory Committee, of which they have funding and programming and planning, and we'll do that a little bit at another time. And since I'm wearing this football, I've got to mention Mr. Thompson. Yes, I don't know if anyone's ever seen something called the fastest 3 minutes in football. It's 3 minutes. This gentleman does an incredible job, articulation. And so Mr. Thompson did that. I wanted to recognize him on the gold line and the green line. That was the most impressive, fastest 3 minutes of transit I've ever seen. Thank you. Sorry, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Degan. And as the survey that he's mentioned that comes out to all of us, I really ask all of you guys to send it out to your networks, because we're trying to get as much information as early as possible. Any questions or comments for Peter?
Sure, if I could just add on, right now, we're actually recruiting, Peter mentioned the composition of the TAB, we're actually recruiting TAB members that the council appoints right now. So districts A through D, which is sort of the west half of the region, are up for appointment this year, as well as 2 transit members and alternates, and non-motorized members and alternates. So a number of positions that we'll be evaluating applications for. I think we're receiving applications through November 9th, and then we'll be reviewing and recommending to council candidates for these important roles on the TAB.
With that, I may be reaching out to one of you to participate in the interview panel for all these TAB members. Councilmember Chambliss?
Yes, is there a place on the website where potential candidates might be able to look and get information on TAB and how to apply?
Absolutely. It's on the council meetings page. There's actually a current committee vacancies, and there's a number of different committees with vacancies, TAB being one of them. We can share this out with committee members to use as you see fit.
Thank you.
And also, there's these roles are for the member and an alternate. TAB it takes a lot to learn all the things at TAB. So it's one of those roles that serving as an alternate for a couple of years can be very beneficial as because there's a pretty steep learning curve. I don't know if you agree with that, and I think it's actually one of those ones where it's not you just sit there and don't participate. You still get access to all of the prep calls and things like that to ask the questions and sort of learn the process. So yeah, if you've got people in your networks who might be interested, especially if you're on the west side or the modal reps, we'd appreciate hearing from them.
Yes, and if I may add, the non-elected officials, we have a call the Monday before the TAB meeting, directed by senior staff. Chair Barber is on, Deputy Director Benowitz is usually on as well, Mr. Carlson, where all the issues are gone through. It's not a substantive meeting with a quorum, it's an informational meeting, whereas because the citizen folks or the non-elected folks do not have staff to help them prepare the documents. And it can be a bit much, but anyway. And I'm sure, as you know, that there are 16 council districts and there are 8 citizen. So the 8 citizen council district. So you take about 2. I handle primarily all of Dakota County and Eastern Scott. And if I'm good, they can move me over to Carver where Chair Barber is, but I haven't made it that far yet.
Any more questions or comments? All right, thanks, Peter.
You're welcome, ma'am.
All right, now we are on to our business. The first item is the items on consent. There are 4 items on consent, and I would entertain a motion to approve the items on consent.
Motion to approve.
Moved by Councilmember Chambliss. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Tyrone Carter. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay, and the motion carries. Now we're on to our non-consent items. The first one is business item 2023-240, contract for trench and sump cleaning, and we have Mike Matteo here to present. And Jody Jacoby.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, council members. My name is Mike Matteo. I'm the manager of facility systems for Metro Transit. And just some background on what I do. I work with a group of people that help support all of our operational facilities for Metro Transit, including our bus garages, our rail buildings, and our support facilities such as this one. What we're seeking today from you is authority to authorize the regional administrator to award and execute a contract number 23P078 with ROM Incorporated to provide cleaning services for sumps and sand traps, trench and plumbing drains that we use to support Metro Transit engineering facilities in an amount not to exceed $563,256. So with me today is Jody Jacoby, who will provide some of the background in the procurement process that we utilized for this current contract.
Madam Chair, committee members, my name is Jody Jacoby, and I'm the Chief Procurement Officer in the Procurement Department. Just going to talk a little bit about the process that we facilitated with this procurement. It was a bid, and the bid was issued on July 5th. We had 16 plan holders. So what those plan holders are comprised of are 10 prime bidders, and what that means is they've identified themselves as going to be the prime with potential for subcontracting opportunities. But those 10 firms would be interested in possibly bidding. There were 3 plan rooms, and what a plan room is they are collecting our bidding opportunities and then pushing them out to other communities to maybe as a service or as of interest to get them to bring access and information to our bids. And then 3 disadvantaged business opportunities. So we had 16 different plan holders. We facilitated a pre-bid meeting. There were 3 addenda that were issued on this project to update the scope and push out the bidding date. And on August 8th, 3 bids were received. 2 bids were fairly close, 1 disparate bid, but the low responsive responsible bid is what you see in your business item to ROM. And so that's the recommendation before you is to award to that bidder. And Mike and I are here to answer any questions that you may have.
Councilmember Chambliss.
Yeah, it's probably obvious, but there's a big range between the low responsive bid and the high bid. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Madam Chair, council member, that's why I'm here with Mike today to explain a little bit. We did receive 3 competitive bids. 2 of the bids were fairly close in value, and we received 1 bid that was just extraordinarily high on each of the different line items. This bidder did also ask about 15 questions, which we did respond to and did receive a bid, but it was abnormally high.
Okay.
And Madam Chair and council members, going to add that the current low bid that we have is relatively in line with the numbers we've seen from previous bids for similar contracts of this nature. So that gives us confidence that we feel this is a price that's within reason of what we would expect. The third highest bidder would be one that was so far out of range that it's there's abnormalities there in place that none of us could really understand what that may have caused that, but we consider it to be non-competitive in that nature.
Any additional questions or comments? All right, seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve business item 2023-240.
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Tony Carter. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Pacheco. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, council members.
Next, we're on to business item 2023-249, which is the system-wide chase replacement for building automation upgrades, and we have Jeff Freeman here. Welcome.
Thank you. Councilmember Barber, or Chair Barber, council members. I am Jeff Freeman. I am the Energy and Sustainability Manager within Metro Transit. I'm going to be here I'm here on behalf of Robert Rimstead, who's tending to a sick child tonight. He is the leader of this group, the project that's bringing it forward. Tonight, we're here to approve a contract 22P049 in the amount of $1,072,050 to Harris Mechanical for a system-wide JACE replacement program. Back in 2010, we started changing our way we ventilate our garages and service as an energy conservation thing. A key component of that was turning our HVAC systems onto a computerized control system, which gives us the name Building Automation System. Those efforts have gone on from 2010 to up until today. We have approximately 160 or so JACEs in the system, which a JACE is really a small computer that is dedicated to certain pieces of equipment within a facility. Of that 160 JACEs, we have probably 130 of them, which are what we call legacy JACEs. They're technologically obsolete. They're no longer supported by the vendor, and we're looking to update them to current technology so we can continue with our conservation efforts within our facilities and keep our energy costs low. This project was solicited through a request for proposals instead of an IFP. There were a number of back and forth between the contractors, the proposed contractors, and the council to really discern the scope of the work at hand, because it's really not that straightforward. We've had multiple people working on these different facilities for us, and it has become a little bit complex. So through that process, we ended up with 4 proposals. We, as a group, evaluated the 4, and we're today bringing forward the recommendation to award this contract to Harris Mechanical. Any questions?
Questions or comments from council members? Councilmember Cameron.
So I just want to clarify, so the JACE controllers, those are the 160, are those per, I'm just trying to understand, so that's per facility or?
160 total. A building like this building might have 8 to 10.
Okay,
So we have about 160 across all of our facilities, both public and support. And we're looking to take these 130 or so that were old generation, think flip phone in a smartphone world, and we wanting to upgrade them so we can continue to have a connectivity, which is our ability to talk to them and see what they're doing, and they can report back to us what's going on in a facility and give us the ability to program and say, hey, here's what we really want to do. Here's the schedule we have. It leads into improved indoor air quality because we're able to monitor what's going on in a garage, and if the levels get too high with toxic pollutions, primarily NOx and CO, we increase the ventilation. So, is that
Councilmember Cameron?
So I'm dealing with something similar in my day job. And so one of the things that we really struggle with is how proprietary these controllers are. And so that would be, my follow-up question is this something that's, I can't think of what the term is, but is it, open-ended so that going forward, you don't have to use a specific contractor for maintenance and updates to it, so that we're not continually using outdated technology?
Madam Chair, Councilmember Cameron, our proposal that we went out with required that the proposers submit what we call open source, open logic.
Yes.
So we are able to, we're not tied to a single contractor once we go forward. We're able to do some of the work ourselves. We're able to contract with another vendor if we desire after we get through the warranty period. So we have intentionally avoided being tied to a single contractor and being married to them until death do us part.
All right, additional questions or comments? All right, then the proposed action tonight is that the Metropolitan Council authorize the regional administrator to award and execute contract 22P049 with Harris Mechanical to provide building automation system upgrades, software updates, system reconfiguration, and replacement of Jace units at Metro Transit facilities in an amount not to exceed $1,072,050. And with that, I'd entertain a motion to approve business item number 2023-249.
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Cameron. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Tyrone Carter. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you,
Madam
Jeff.
Chair, Councilmembers, thank you.
Next, we're on to business item 2023-250, joint powers agreement with the City of St. Paul, and we have Captain Richard Grates here to present. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and council and committee members. My name is Rick Grates. I'm a captain at Metro Transit Police, and I'm assigned to the Office of the Chief. And I'm here to present this business item today. But before I do that, I just want to bring a little background into it. Beginning towards Q4 of 2022, we began to look at our joint powers agreements and mutual aid agreements that we have on file within the police department with our partnering agencies throughout the region that we provide police service to. One of the things we noticed that a lot of those are quite outdated. The business item that I bring forward today is a joint powers agreement with the City of St. Paul. And this joint powers agreement was last reviewed and signed in 2013. So it's 10 years old. Obviously, the world has changed quite a bit in the last 10 years and how we do business, and even basic things as far as evidence and body-worn cameras and technology. So this really needed a review, and we started doing this with other ones, obviously, with the Metropolitan Airports Commission, and the committee will see more of these throughout the year. It's basically a formality just to update them, and the Office of General Counsel has been a big part of drafting these agreements. And this one, in fact, has already gone through the St. Paul City Council and been signed. So the proposed action I'm bringing forward today is that the council authorize the regional administrator to execute a joint powers agreement with the City of St. Paul. I went a little bit into the background, but the MTPD has entered into past agreements with the City of St. Paul, and these agreements help clarify roles to include jurisdiction and investigative responsibilities of crimes that occur on council property and Metro Transit. One of the things that we look for in our statutory authority as Metro Transit police officers is this clause of exercise general law enforcement duties. And what that means is when we're working with these primary agencies, we do need these written agreements so that we can work collaboratively within the statutory obligations that we have when we're doing so. So we went through this document, we revised it, we updated it to be more reflective of current policing needs and how we operate today, to include basic things as how we report crimes to the federal government. In 2017, we became our own reporting agency, so we report transit crimes to the federal government that way. Before, we would have to report everything that happened in St. Paul through the City of St. Paul, things of that nature, or in Minneapolis through the City of Minneapolis. So this brings us up to date with those agreements. I believe it's a very good document, and that's all I have for right now. There's no financial impact to this. It's just a legal agreement between our agencies to work collaboratively together and to kind of lay out the rules of engagement, so to say. We deal with transit crimes. They deal with crimes within the city of St. Paul.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Carter.
Thank you. It is really a good idea after 10 years to look back. And I know that's just an example of one of the agreements. And so I am sure that you're going through with a fine-tooth comb all of those agreements and to benefit us as we look to collaborate with our partners. I don't see any of the document here, and I appreciate your mentioning one of the examples of reporting and making certain that that reporting is uniform and up to date. There's so many things that have happened. You mentioned a few of them in that time that are great policy issues for all of us across our Twin Cities metropolitan area. And I wonder if there is a summary of that agreement so that as we move forward to our next council meeting to adopt it, if we could just understand what may be in it and how those policy items are treated.
Absolutely. The document isn't overly large. I actually have a copy of it with me.
That's
and I don't know, Becky, if those get forwarded
Yeah,
we can add something
to the council. That would be very helpful.
for review.
I'm assuming we have some role in adopting it. Is that true?
Yes, Councilmember Carter, we would, this would go to be, and the next step is at council. I think the intention is probably to move it on consent agenda, but we can certainly attach the document and probably route information out to the committee.
Yeah, with law enforcement interaction and cooperation and being aligned, being such a big issue and coming to the attention of us all in such many ways these past few years, I'd appreciate the opportunity to take a look.
We'll get some additional
Thank
information
you
out
so
there.
much.
All right,
Thank you.
additional, Councilmember Cameron.
And this, now that we'll be looking at the physical document, it might be addressed in the document itself, but, my question really has to do with the statute that you cited and the accountability mechanism that's built into the JPA around enforcing that. I guess what I'm asking is there any teeth in that, well, let me first explain that my comments are coming from hearing from officers on our force at various levels, including from beat cops all the way up, that there might not, there's some challenges in these agreements in terms of what happens in the JPA versus what happens when they're actually out in the field. And so is there enough teeth in here that we're following through, that we'll be able to follow through?
I feel it really helps define it. I believe that there has been kind of a fog in the past on some of this. That does feed down to the officers out on the street and the first line supervisors, where if we do have a significant incident, say at a light rail station, obviously the primary agencies still can, by state statute, can say, we want to handle this. But as the agency has grown and that we have our own technology, our own investigative units, it's been more and more now that we are taking care of our own issues that are occurring on the system. So instead of having those first line supervisors go, no, it's yours, no, it's yours, no, it's yours, this helps clarify a little bit of that to ensure a better continuity of police operations out on the system. I hope that helps.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Yeah. We're good. Thank you. Additional questions or comments? All right, again, so it is the proposed actions that Metropolitan Council authorized the regional administrator to execute a joint powers agreement number 23I002 with the city of St. Paul. I'd entertain a motion to approve business item 2023-250.
Motion to approve.
Moved by Councilmember Chambliss. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Tyrone Carter. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, council members and committee members.
Now we're on to business item 2023-262, which is Transit Service Intervention Project. And we have Selena Martina here to present.
Afternoon. Madam Chair, council members, committee members, I'm Selena Martina, Senior Manager of Equity and Inclusion at Metro Transit. And also I took a role as the coordinator for the Transit Service Intervention Project. So the business item in front of you is seeking your authorization to execute contracts with 5 additional community serving organizations to provide those key intervention services for our Transit Service Intervention Project. Those organizations are named in their business item: Brothers Empowered, the Family Partnership, Touch Outreach, All Our Boys, 8218 Truth Center, and the total amount of those 5 contracts do not exceed $633,000. I came before you late in August with also contracts for this project. So this is my second time in front of you, and I'm excited to create more opportunities for partners from organizations that are expert in crisis intervention, addressing homelessness and unhoused individuals in our system, as well as drug use on our LRT. I just want to remind you that the TSIP, or Transit Service Intervention Project, is only on our blue line and green line, so these contracts and the services will be provided on the platforms and on trains on those 2 lines. And any questions, I'm here to answer.
Thank you. Councilmember Chambliss, and then Councilmember Carter.
Yes, I'm wondering if, well, 2 questions. How big is the human trafficking issue in relation to some of the other issues? And are they providing support and mediation regarding human trafficking?
Thank you, Madam Chair, Barber, Councilmember Chambliss. Thank you for that question. Although the TC project by law does not specify human trafficking or sex trafficking as part of the intervention projects, or services rather, you see here that we have onboarded a couple of contractors that have that area of expertise. We work really close with Metro Transit Police Department. This is a joint effort, and the state, Minnesota State, to understand what are the best practices to intervene and identify sex trafficking and human trafficking crimes on our transit. So there is a natural correlation, but we don't ask for these vendors to particularly give us data around those crimes. We have our own police and our own protocols, but we continue to learn about how we can coordinate and collaborate more on that. If I was clear in answering, yeah.
Councilmember Chambliss.
Thank you. Yes, that was very clear. Thank you for that explanation. This kind of drills down a little bit deeper into my question. Specifically, you mentioned on the stations and actually on the public transit vehicles. What about the spillover? Is there, a range, like a 3-block range or anything like that, that we keep an eye on? Or, sometimes there's kind of an exchange of traffic or issues that kind of spill over from our facilities.
Yeah, Madam Chair Barber, Councilmember Chambliss, thank you again for that. It's a very good question. When we report monthly to the legislature about TSIP. So TSIP, although we are, bringing contracts in front of you, we have already deployed some of our partners. Our HAT team has been really active on our green and blue lines. And you bring a very good question about what is the jurisdiction of this TSIP. So primarily, the legislature says that it's on the LRT system. So it's on platforms on our trains. We provide data around, calls for service, crimes, and types of complaints we receive for also those corridors, and perhaps a little bit, we use GI technology to see what is, nearby. We hope that our partners, our contract partners, can really get us more information about what they see, how they experience activity outside the platforms, outside the trains, that can help us inform how to better, intervene. So although the legislature is really clear about the jurisdiction, we hope that we continue to learn from these partners and contractors what is happening in community and how we can intervene in a more broad manner, in a broader manner.
Thank you.
Councilmember Carter.
Thank you. Also very, very interested in the coordination and the handshaking, information to and from, and respectful of the unique work that these partners are doing. I know there's not a tell us everything or, give us everything kind of relationship. Can you describe, however, Ms. Salinas, what kind of expectation there is that we are working together? Are there coordinated meetings? On what kind of frequency? Are there reports that do come to us? Do we provide information, beyond just our standard reports to these providers? And I think last but not least, and you don't have to answer all of this but I'm just giving you what's in my head here. Last but not least, is there an expectation that the public will notice something different in terms of presence?
Yeah. Madam Chair Barber, Councilmember Carter, thank you again for that question. Yes, and I want to remind this committee as well as remind when I talk about TSIP that it hasn't started when I come to you with this business item. TSIP, we started back in June with a lot of coordinating efforts with our HAT team, connecting with our county partners, a lot of the organizations that are in front of you that have received a contract or are proposed to a contract, they have already, they are working with us. So that visibility has been increased since June. With these particular contracts, yes, they will be wearing a vest that says TSIP, so they'll be really easily identifiable. And we completed an in-person onboarding meeting with our first batch of contractors to ensure that we know who to contact, how they process invoice, how they prepare reports to us, what to expect when they are in the system, who is supporting them as they are providing intervention services. We have our police officers, we have CSOs, what type of calls they can make through our TCC, through using the button on the trains. So there is a lot of mutual information exchange, and the expectations are clear in the contract signing too, where when we sign the contract with these vendors, we lay down in the contract the weekly reporting expectations, and also their attendance to, we have ongoing bi-weekly coordination group, TSIP coordination group meetings that I host today, every other Monday. And not only the vendors are required to send someone to represent the work they do, but also we have their representatives from the Department of Human Services. We have Ramsey County Chief of Staff. We have the City of Minneapolis representatives. So it's a very diverse and great group of individuals that we care deeply about this project's success and to make sure that our riders experience a better service, and those that need to connect to these very important intervention services are connected during, at the green line and the blue line. Yeah.
And I have heard that there has already been
Yes.
a good indication that our community is beginning to sense a difference and really welcoming that difference. I'm thankful to know that these regular meetings are happening as well, and that there is that flow not only of information about who to contact. I'm hoping, that there is a substantial flow of information about what the environment's like, as I said, not just the standard reports, but so that our contractors who are working the lines with us are really able to feel as though they are a part of our success, and we are helping them to succeed as well, because we all want safer, more respectful environment for all of us. Thank you so much for the work you're doing.
Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Cameron.
I just want to add on to those final comments made by Councilmember Carter, and that is really that what I've heard in feedback from constituents and partners is that they are really supportive of these programs. We all have heard so many comments about public safety, but we're fortunate that so many people understand that public safety is inclusive of these conversations too. And so really just applaud the work of these partners and hope that they continue to do the wonderful work they're doing.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair Barber, Councilmember Cameron. Certainly, I think that my hope, my personal hope, is to create that community of practice in these meetings where people share best practices, best services to intervene, but also get connected to resources. For example, we have representatives from the state and the Department of Human Services, and the state has a lot of grants and opportunities, funding opportunities for these organizations to continue to pursue their growth in their services they provide, and do it, outside transit or, into community, into other spaces that these intervention services are also very needed, so.
Right, additional questions or comments? All right, then say the proposed action is that the Metropolitan Council authorize the regional administrator to award and execute contracts 23P116 F through J that will provide support to people who are returning to transit while experiencing homelessness, suffering from mental illnesses, or facing other challenges in an amount not to exceed $633,000. I'd entertain a motion to approve the business item 2023-262.
I'll move.
Moved by Councilmember Cameron, seconded by Councilmember Tony Carter. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay, and the motion carries. Thank you. And that concludes our business for the evening. I think all four of those items can go on consent. If everyone's in agreement, we'll get out some additional information on tab applicants and also on the joint powers agreements to the committee and make sure something's posted with the item on consent. And with that, we can be done at a very somewhat early hour. I would love to say that I planned it to be 65 degrees at the end of October for that to happen, but I'm going to take credit for it just for fun and say, go Vikings, and we are adjourned.
Thank you.